We spend about a third of our lives doing something completely bizarre. Every night, we lie down, close our eyes, and vanish into the dark. In those hours, everything that makes you you simply disappears. Your ambitions, your anxieties, your memories, and your entire waking identity are gone. When the waking world is turned off and the fragile projections of our dreams eventually fade away, what exactly is left in the vacuum? To map that void, we look to ancient texts, specifically those translated in the early Upanishads. The Mandukya Upanishad maps human awareness into quarters. It defines this phase of dreamless sleep as Sushupti, the third quarter of the self. Mapping exactly where the mind goes during this daily disappearance defines the base reality of who we are when our eyes are open. The Upanishadic thinkers had a name for the self in this state of deep sleep, Prajna, which translates to the intelligent one. The defining characteristic of Prajna is total stillness. It entertains no desires and projects no dreams, because the mind has folded entirely in on itself. They called this process ekibhuta, the mind becoming one. The Mandukya describes deep sleep as where a sleeping man entertains no desires or sees no dreams. He has become one, and thus being a single mass of perception. This state is profound peace, described as consisting of bliss, and thus enjoying bliss. The Sanskrit term for this is prajnanagana. It means a highly concentrated, solid mass of consciousness. While your waking awareness is scattered in a million directions, focused on work, traffic, conversations, in deep sleep, all of that awareness collapses inward into a single dense point of absolute stillness. You are not unconscious in dreamless sleep. Your awareness has simply condensed into a state of pure, undifferentiated being. This creates a paradox. If we are just a unified mass down there without a single active thought or dream, why do we wake up in the morning and say we slept wonderfully? If you remember absolutely nothing about the night, who was actually there to experience all that peace? The Chandogya Upanishad offers an answer. It notes that the Sanskrit word for sleeping, svapiti, literally translates to enter into oneself. Perception doesn't shut down, the senses retreat. The Prajna Upanishad explains that like the setting sun, all our faculties gather together within the highest deity, the mind. When the mind stops projecting dreams, then in this body there arises this bliss. Memory requires duality, a subject to observe an object. In deep sleep, there is no second thing to perceive. You cannot form a memory of the peace, because you are the peace. The relief of a dreamless night reflects a state of total, undifferentiated unity. As centuries passed, the poetic insights of the original Upanishads were formalized by later Vedantic scholars into rigorous philosophical systems. A thinker named Gaudapada classified deep sleep as the causal state. He argued it is the foundational seed from which both our waking lives and our dreaming realities sprout. This raises a new question. If deep sleep is a state of pure bliss and total unity, is it the same thing as spiritual enlightenment? The answer is no. To experience unity in the dark of sleep is different from realizing it in the light of day. Because we still hold on to the root of our individual ego, a state of fundamental ignorance called avidya, the peace of sleep is only a temporary reprieve. The ignorance remains, entirely undisturbed. In dreamless sleep, the ego is just resting. We have not yet reached what the Mandukya Upanishad calls the final state. Looking at verse 12, we find a description of a higher reality. The fourth, on the other hand, is without constituent phonemes, auspicious, and unique. This is the trap of the causal state. Because that underlying ignorance is only sleeping, the ego is guaranteed to wake back up. When the alarm goes off in the morning, you return from that blissful void as the exact same person, bound by the exact same ties, habits, and flaws. Like a dormant seed reacting to the light, the ego aggressively bursts back into the waking world, ready to start the cycle all over again. If the waking world is struggle, the dream world is a projection, and the peace of deep sleep is only a temporary pause, is there anything else? We have to look at what lies beyond the third quarter.